Welcome back to the Wizard's Cruiser. Mrs. Wizard and I have been really going strong trying to get a whole bunch of things done on this. Let's take a look at the things we've done and the things we've got yet to do before we hit the Memorial Day deadline. We want to get this thing in the water and on the lake. Let's take a look. We didn't need to do anything with the outdrives or the engines really that much. The guy I bought it from said that the impellers had already been done. When I had the garden hose hooked to them, they have a very powerful stream of water coming out. I know the impellers are working. We did put them level and check the gear oil in both units, the auxiliary and also the outdrive, or the leg as they call it. And they both have clean oil in them that are full. There's no milky, water contaminated gear oil. It's just clean oil that's in there. So that's really, really good. That's a good thing. Really didn't have to do a whole lot with that, but we've had to do a lot as far as inside the cabin and in the cockpit area. Let's hop up in the cruiser and take a look. So here we are at the helm. It's a little dark. I'll turn on our new LED lights. Nice and bright. It had some old jankety incandescent bulb style 12-volt lights on there. They looked really bad and they weren't very bright. We upgraded these all to LEDs, and you'll see that in the cabin here in a minute as well. As far as navigation, I decided to do what a lot of guys on yacht forums have done. Get an old 3G iPad and download an app called Navionics, and it uses the 3G without having to get cellular service. And it works perfectly fine. It's touchscreen, it's updated, and it looks really nice without having to spend $2,000 on a charting computer or whatever they call those, marine chart. I do have a cell phone holder here. I've installed a 12-volt USB charging port right here to run the iPad and my phone. The next thing we're going to install soon is this Hawkeye depth meter, depth gauge. I'll just put a small 2-inch hole right here and install it right there. That way I can see how deep the water is. I don't want to beach this thing.
You mean you don't want to make it a bay liner?
Yeah, I don't want to have it lining the bottom of the bay. No, I don't want to do that. There's already enough running jokes about that. I don't want to make it come true because I don't know how deep the water is. As you can see, there's some small marine speakers over there. I haven't installed them yet. There's one in that corner and there's one in this corner. I'm going to screw them down. The previous owner had some cheap speakers zip tied, just kind of hanging up here, and it didn't look very good. I want it to look pretty presentable, so that will make that look a lot nicer. One thing I've done is change up the battery situation. Originally this had two 24 series batteries, just small batteries. One for starting the engine or engines, and one used kind of like a house battery to power all the accessories on the boat. I have gone and changed that up. I no longer have two batteries right here. I have one 4D battery, really huge battery, for the starting battery. It fit right in place of the old batteries. The strap even works. I got that bolted in. Now I have tons of cranking amps and lots of reserve capacity. I don't want any excuses out on the middle of the water. Oh, my starting battery's dead. That thing's got more than enough power to start the 5-liter that's in there. We won't run the house accessories off of that. As you can see, it's on number 2, which would be the second battery, which is directly below me. Let's take a look at that battery. I'm not finished making this pretty and everything. I just got these installed today, but I got my strap and some wood blocks to keep it in place. But our house battery is going to be an 8D battery. Very much power inside of that battery. Also installed a charger that connects into AC shore power. That'll keep both batteries. This is a 2-bank charger. You can see that they're both in maintenance mode. They're both fully charged and ready to go. This big, huge battery should give us hours of use on the lake for lights and small fans and things. Should last all day. So I know that's a lot of weight on one side of the boat, but I'm also installing an auxiliary fuel tank, which I'm still in the works of doing that. We'll show that in a later video. That'll be on the opposite side of the boat, and that will balance everything out nicely. Let's go ahead and take a look in the cabin and see what Mrs. Wizard has done.
So hey, welcome back guys, my domain again. It's awfully dark in here. Just like Wizard, I've got new lights too. I installed, these are the very same kind that we put in the Carver, and I like them so well there. They do a great job. Also put one over here. So bam, so much better. As you notice, now that we've got it lit up in here, I've gotten curtains installed. And these were so much easier than the Carver over there. These, I bought them, already done. They are room darkening, as you can tell. They're nice and dark in here. They already had all the hardware there. I just had to install it. And then I found the cutest things. These were for some curtains that I had. These are huge eyelets. But watch. They hold the curtains. You just kind of feed it through. And voila. Now as we bounce around the lake, they're not going anywhere, and they all move to get out of the space, so we can also be nice and bright. Had to make these, so did have to do some more sewing, but with these, had this little circle again, easy enough to just slide that up. And hey, now we can look out and, see what's going on in the shop, I guess. These guys, these are lovely Naga hide. And the secret I found with these, they do snap in place. The snaps were in great shape. Is that we can roll these up because you don't want to take them down. I've discovered you take them down, then you're at mercy of, oh goodness, which way does it go? Which side does it go on? Is it on this side, that side? Is it upside down, inside? Oh, good grief. And so here again, got more of these. Just slide that on. Slide it down and snap into place, and voila, can put them out of the way. Now I could fold them and I could put them off to the side, but in some ways this is a bit easier. Okay, done a lot of cleaning. The walls have been cleaned as best as I can do. I might just try and scrub a little bit more, although last weekend we were getting ready to work on the boat. And I don't know, I put my socks on. My socks, like every other day of the year, right? And I threw my back out. I couldn't do anything all of Saturday. So that took out a lot of work that we were going to get done. But luckily, I was able to come in, at least sit down in the boat with the can of, carpet cleaner, and at least get that work done. Now, I still have more. You can tell, we've got memory foam in here. This was old memory foam. We decided, the Wizard and I, let's upgrade our bed, so let's use it here. And you can see it's kind of rough cut, and that's because, well, the best way to cut memory foam is with a really big serrated knife. So I have a really long bread knife, and you can just really just saw away. Now, it does look rough now, but you know what? We really don't care because I have sheets for these. I just don't have them in today. I've already got them pre-done. I've got 2 separate sheets. I've got twin size sheets. So when we need to get underneath, when they're connected, we still can and still get to the storage areas easily. So once the sheets are on there, I've already tested it. We just didn't bring them in because I needed to get them washed since they were brand new and we hadn't had a chance to get them cleaned. Got plans for these lovely dinette benches as well. They are very lovely in 90s, so they are going to get a makeover of some type as well, but that hasn't come in the mail yet. Last thing, I've got a couple of other fun ideas. One I'm working on is I'm going to install, this is a 4-plex USB charge, and I will be putting this on the actual 110 voltage system within the boat. So when we're at the marina, we can charge this. On the other side of the boat with the radio, I have, just like Wizard had up on the Helm with his 2 USB port charging spots, I have the same thing for in here as well. And so we'll be able to charge in 2 different ways depending on what power source we have available. So that should be pretty easy to, get these installed. So that's my task yet this afternoon. As you can tell, we've cut back the shelf. We've installed a very small microwave and a very small coffee pot because, well, we cannot live without coffee first thing in the morning. So just a simple, cheap little K-cup coffee maker and a very small microwave because we're not going to be doing major cooking in here. We've actually removed the gas burners out of here underneath. We've removed that, so this is no longer functional. It is now storage that I've put a nice just put a dish drying towel in there just so it's lined. So now we have just a little more storage. We were not gonna, the idea of open flame on a boat terrifies the Wizard and I greatly, so we're just not gonna do that. And we're on vacation. We're not gonna be baking and cooking, all that. So the microwave will be good for just warming up simple things. Last, head to the head. Again, changed out, and there's night mode as well, so if you go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, you're not blinded. But again, changed out the 90s bulb style, yellow aged to nice LED. In here, we've installed a lot of organizing elements because we didn't have organizing elements before. So on this side, I've installed, it's like a bigger shoe rack. So if you're used to like having shoe pads, this spots to put shoes, this one's bigger. And so we'll be able to put some items in here. Again, more curtain. So, and it's tied back, so it's pushed out of the way. And then on this other side, got a couple of things. One is we've got a towel rack here, so we can hang towels or swimsuits, okay, when we need. And again, a smaller rack over here as well to hold, sunscreen in case of, Wizard and his bare head, aloe vera, so when he gets burned, we can actually make sure he is taken care of. So the bathroom is going to become quite the storage space because there isn't any other major space here. The Carver had lots of storage up above that we no longer have in this boat, which is fine. We just have to find new ways to do that, and that's one of the things we've done here. Now, there's one thing that major thing the Wizard's done in here, but let's let him show you what he did.
One of the things when we started checking out this boat a little bit more is what we thought was a refrigerator. It's not a refrigerator. It's an old school ice box, like the old school where you put a chunk of ice or a bunch of ice chips in there and that's your cooling ability. That's not going to work for us. We actually ordered a small Coleman cooler that's 12 volts and that'll take care of our cooling needs, and Mrs. Wizard will show you that once it arrives. But since we're not going to be using that space, number one, and number two, this boat did not come with heat or AC, we decided we wanted to add AC without spending $3,000 to do it. We had a window AC unit, and amazingly I watched some YouTube channels of some guys that have yachts actually out on the East Coast that found ways to install a window AC unit, and you had to actually build chambers. The rear chamber would be where the hot exhaust air comes off, and you have to seal that off separate. And then they put a blower fan that sucks the heat out of that chamber and blows it to the exterior of the boat. And you have to have a second chamber that's an air intake with fresh air coming in. The fresh air goes through the AC unit, cools the condenser, and out through the blower fan and out to the outside air. We've installed that where the icebox used to be, and as you can take a look down there, there's our handy dandy air conditioning. You need to clean up a little bit, clean the grill on it, make it look a little nicer. But it's an old unit that we had that works perfectly. It gets ice cold. There's no reason to throw it away. It's a perfect use for this old unit. I have a little switch actually inside of that little tray that Miss Wizard just showed where the open flame stove used to be. You turn on that switch and it turns on the blower. Then you turn on the AC. And I've already tried it. It gets ice cold in here. And I'll show you guys a vent I have on the outside. It's small and it's out of the way, but it works very well. If you look down through there, you can see some silver ductwork that hooks to the blower fan, where it pulls the hot air inside of its own enclosed chamber and draws it and pushes it through that ductwork and out this watertight dryer vent that I installed. It's a small hole right there that I had to drill and put that in, but once it's up and running, right here where my hand is touching, it blows really hot air out, which I know then that it's working, it's doing its job. Really hot air. This thing gets ice cold, so that tells me there's enough air movement flowing to keep this thing nice and happy. It works, and it cost us 40 bucks, 50 bucks and some supplies. We already had the air conditioner. There's no reason to throw it out. I really didn't want to buy a marine unit that cost $3,000. Now this unit could be used on the water if we had an inverter, but it would suck down batteries really fast. So when we go out on the water, we're going to be doing swimming. We have a couple of 12-volt fans to cool us off. It won't be air conditioned while we're out on the water, but when we're sleeping at night, we can be nice and cool and not have to be sweating laying in our beds while we're docked at the marina. So here's the little dryer vent I talked about. It has a flap inside of it that has a rubber seal. So when it closes, it can't rain in here or splashes from the water won't get in there. But when you turn it on, it opens up and lets really hot air out. It works really well. So we still have a ways to go, some things we need to finish up. There's going to be a couple more videos in this series. The next one will be a couple more things we want to show you guys, some really cool upgrades to the boat. And the last video will be actually us on the water at the lake, enjoying all of our upgrades and the really sweet Bayliner. I'm very excited myself to get this thing to Grand Lake and cruise around with Hoovy. I won't be able to keep up with him in his Cobalt 343. That thing can do 70 miles an hour on the water. There's no hope for this thing to do 70, at the most maybe 30. But we can cruise together and have fun and dock the boats together and just enjoy the sunshine. I really look forward to that. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to actually work on this boat or the cars in the shop, because we use both, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. All the tools we use in the shop are listed for sale there. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure you hit the subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on this really cool series. Thanks for watching.